Agatha All Along, Episode 7, titled Death's Hand in Mine. Now, this episode does have a lot of spoiler stuff because I do want to talk about the last like 10 minutes or so, a couple of reveals, certain things that happen in it. And I feel like this type of story, to really dive deep into it and kind of get my actual thoughts on the episode, I kind of have to like really heavily spoil this episode. So if you very sensitive about spoilers, come watch the episode, hear my thoughts, and hopefully you guys and then see you next week for the 2 episode finale, because this is technically the second last week of the show, with episode 3, with the third to last episode, and then 8 and 9 being the last 2, which will be next week. So see you then, and it'll probably be the same thing. But I probably am just going to deep dive into spoilers, just because those 2 weeks, because in that week, because I'll be talking about episode 8 in episode 9, so there's going to be a lot of weaving and waving and that kind of stuff. Anyway, so the big thing that really shocked me about this episode, because this is a good episode, and this feels, I mean, it did end quite abruptly. Like, I felt like, oh, maybe we'll have a little bit more. And then I heard the music, like I heard like, okay, they don't really play like pop songs, or they don't do needle drops until we hit the credits. So clearly the time in the bubble happens, and here comes the credits. So I did feel like the ending did feel a little bit corrupt. Again, it's all about saying goodbye to this one character. It's all about saying goodbye to Lena. This is her episode. But I did find it quite cool. But I wouldn't lie, I was kind of shocked that the Salem kind of got dusted. I was really surprised that the Salem were like, okay, you're done. Because by episode 2, all they have been really is this spookiness. It's like, look, creepy people in black clothing, isn't that scary? And they're chasing our main characters. And I'm thinking, you're there just so you can be, so Wanda and the rest of the Covenant and Billy Maximoff can whoop all your asses at the end of the show. By episode 9, we'll have this big spectacle episode. But this isn't the case, because Mila sacrifices herself by killing the entire Salem, which is quite interesting. So, but I think what it is they might want to go a little bit more personal route. I wouldn't be sure that's the route they'll go. With the big reveal that Wayo is death, like death itself. Which is kind of funny if you know her comic book counterpart, which is the reason Thanos did the snap, got finding Infinity Stones and destroyed half the universe. Isn't so he felt because it was going to balance the universe or anything on those lines. It's because he had the hearts for a girl, and that girl was death. That's why he did half the universe. Hey, we do crazy shit when we're in love, right? The hard ones were the hard ones, even if it involves killing half the universe. Who knew? And also Deadpool has the hearts for her as well. So there's that. But her reveal, clearly, showing her death appearance, showing she is death, like a big stop. It's I was thinking, okay, they're kind of making her kind of look like Voldemort with the no nose and all that kind of stuff. But I'm thinking, this looks like more like Red Star if, Red Star just looks like a human face with no nose. And they're hiding her appearance. It's until Agatha really sees her. So, it could be like Agatha might just see Agatha Plaza and Rhea, as she has been in the rest of the show, but her truly deaf appearance, because sometimes deaf is, looks like the corpse bride, sometimes deaf, in her coral counterpart looks like the corpse bride, or just a pack of skeletons, as most deaf appearances go. But it's it is going to be quite interesting how they wrap this up and in a satisfying way. Because I assume we got one more trial, my guessing with Jen, which that one's going to be really dark. Jen's trial, when it's all about... Oh, technically you may say... You know what? Jen's trial was the first one, because she was the reason, like, the potions were there, so you may argue that was her trial. So I'm trying to think, maybe Billy might be the only one left, having the trial, and then, like, people get their powers and gifts and all that kind of stuff. But my thoughts on the episode as a whole, I felt it was a really well put together, because we're dealing with time. We're dealing with Lena, who is a fortune teller, and we're dealing with cards and that. So doing this kind of really timey-wimey, Demento, like Pulp Fiction-y kind of thing, where we start from the beginning and then we go to the end, and then we go halfway and then semi-halfway and all that, really works well. I mean, sure, at the beginning you're thinking, okay, this feels very, very disjointed, but then you start to piece things together. You're like, okay, this is pretty well handled. This is getting enough time and pace and gives you a sense of what's going on, and trying to piece, like, okay, clearly what it is. This whole episode is about what happens when you know death is around the corner. Sometimes literally, death is right there saying hello, like, hey, how you going? But it's literally that. What happens when death around the corner, and what happens when you can't remember certain things and you're trying to piece things, everything together. It will feel very jumbled and make it feel like, but then slowly everything's pieced together, because we get like, oh, okay, now they're at the trial. Now they're not at the trial. Lee's not at the trial. She's with her mother, that clearly is saying to her, you don't need to control it. You just need to see it. See your destiny. See what you see. And it's her being her true self. Now, of course, this is the one that I think a lot of people are looking forward to, which is everyone's dressing up as different witches from, like, public domain. Because you got Agatha dressing up as the Wicked Witch of the West from Wizard of Oz. And of course, Lena is dressing up as the Good Witch of the East from Wizard of Oz as well. You got Billy Maximoff being bloody hell, Maleficent from Sleeping Beauty. It took me a while to find out what Jen was dressing up as. I was thinking, is this a Game of Thrones reference? Like, I seen half of Game of Thrones, and I remember because of the dreadlocks and all that. But it's like, no, I'm like, wait, Snow White, gotcha. It's a version of the old hag from Snow White. So, yeah, and of course, Lena's like, what the fuck is this? This is a corporation or that. I'm like, what? See, yeah. I always just you could kind of tell, like, they just wanted, like, what's in the public domain and what does Disney own? It's basically if them dressing up, because I would picture, like, Hogwarts gear. If they had three ways, they'll be like, one dresses as Harry Potter, one dresses as a Hogwarts student, one dresses as this one dresses that. Play it up a little bit, but clearly they really want to be safe with footage and all that, is by using, like, stuff that's in the public domain, or two is in Disney actually owns. So, like, for example, the craft and all that kind of stuff, because that would count money. And so there could be a whole thing about, if you say, oh, what about Sabrina, but all that, but some people be like, what about Harry Potter? There's a whole bucket of things that came out in the last couple of years. Oh, God. That might also make people not want to touch that franchise, sadly, as much, because you might be promoting it to a certain person, Anyway, it's going to be so interesting when I cover that show. It's going to be so interesting. I'm trying to find some middle ground about it. Anyway, but yeah, this is a really well done. It takes its time. There's a big emotional thing out through it without even knowing about it, and it really clicks well. It really clicks well together, and I quite like the episode. Is it? I could see someone feel a little bit confused, it being all timey-wimey, but I watched Doctor Who. I can track, and I watched the Memento and understood what was happening. So I think I could do piecings like go here, go here, go here, go there. So yeah, but now we're nearly end of the road with 2 episodes left. With episodes 8 and 9 being a 2-episode finale next week, and I'll see you then when that happens.